I'm proud to stand with you today as we announce the solutions that will protect the environment and our livelihoods going forward. I want to thank Governor Cuomo for his support of Jefferson and St. Lawrence counties and all the communities along the Lake Ontario and St. Lawrence River shoreline. Now, if you'll join me in a great North Country welcome, it is a great pleasure to introduce to you the 56th Governor of the state of New York, Governor Andrew Cuomo.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It's my pleasure to be back. First, let me thank Scott Gray and Mayor Janet Otto Casada very much for being with us today. Let's give them a round of applause. It's a pleasure to be back. It's a pleasure to be indoors. Last time I was here, I was with Scott. I was out on a boat. We were doing a tour for the emergency relief. If I never see another sandbag, if I never see another aqua dam, I'd never heard of an aqua dam before, these portable dams that we put up. But if I never hear of one again, it'll be too soon. And I want to congratulate all of you for your hard work, for the resiliency, the strength that everybody showed to get through what they had to get through. In many ways, it just shows how much people love the North Country and love this part of the state, that they dealt with in 2017, they dealt with it in 19. So let's give yourselves a round of applause. You're going to hear from the DEC Commissioner, Basil Sagos, who's been the co-chair of this effort. He's done a great job. He's a DEC Commissioner who believes in getting to yes. That is his motto. How can DEC say yes? Basil Sagos, let's give him a round of applause. We have the head of the New York Power Authority, Gil Quinones, who really pitched in this region, did a great job. Let's give him a round of applause. We have the person who's going to run this program, who is familiar to some people in this room. And let's give Molly Riley a big round of applause. Molly was the former mayor of Sackett's Harbor. Someone said to me, "You stole Molly from us in Sackett's Harbor." I said, "Yes, I did. I admit to the crime." Actually, I met Molly on the same trip that Scott and I were on, going through the damage and what communities needed, and she was so impressive and so attuned to what the local governments needed, and really so attuned to what the state had not done right in the past, that I said, let's just hire this woman and let her run the program, and that is exactly what we did. So another round of applause for Molly Riley. Let's talk about a couple of facts, okay? We have a lot of politics in our society now. We're sort of suffocating in politics, and we're not having enough progress. So let's talk about some facts and progress. We had a flood in 2017. They told me at the time it was a 1 in 500 year flood in 2017. And we spent tens of millions of dollars doing emergency repair from the state side. That doesn't count what the counties did and the local governments did. It doesn't count the amount that homeowners and businesses had to spend on the 2017 flood. Inconvenienced thousands of people. You know, Lake Ontario, you have to remember, that's 500 miles of shoreline of New York State. 1.5 million people, 8 counties. It's virtually the entire northern border. So 2017 was a horrendous situation to go through. But it was a 1 in 500 year flood. Fast forward this year, 2019, second flood, second 500-year flood. Except math doesn't work that way. You can't have two 500-year floods. This year's flood was a higher level than the 2017 flood. Water was actually higher. Again, we spent tens of millions of dollars in emergency repairs, National Guard, people, homeowners had to go through the same process all over again. Homes that were flooded were reflooded, businesses that were flooded were re-flooded. And what we had done in 2017 is we had spent a lot of money repairing what was there, because we were told it was once in 500 years, it'll never happen again, so we repaired what was. 2019, fool me once, shame on you. 2019, we said we're going to take a different approach. Now, first, there's a body called the IJC. Do you know what the IJC is? International Joint Commission. They say that I'm tough on the IJC. I don't believe I'm being tough on the IJC. I believe the IJC is being tough on New York. I don't blame the IJC for creating the water. That's Mother Nature. I believe there's been additional rainfall. I believe there's been a rapid snow melt. I believe all of that. So I don't blame them for the water. But their job was to manage the flow of the water. That is their job. And I understand they have many competing influences. They have different geographic influences. They have to worry about Canada. They have to worry about other geographies. I understand they have a lot of interests to balance. I understand that they're very concerned about shipping and commerce. And if you bring the water down too low, then you can't do shipping. That's not in anyone's best interest. But I am tired of New York paying a higher price than anywhere else. I'm tired of New York getting the high end of the flood. We started litigation against the IJC, which is just our way of saying pay attention to New York, because we really have paid too high a price and too many people have suffered. But I'm not going to expect that IJC is going to be the resolution. I think they should be helpful. I think they can do better. I'm going to keep pushing them to do better, but I'm not going to rely on them either. At the end of the day, we do best when we rely on ourselves. And what is the smart thing to do? After the 2017 flood, after the 2019 flood, let's assume this high water level is going to happen again. One in 500 years, 2 in 500 years. I believe this is probably going to be the future. And in that acknowledgement is liberation. So let's not spend money to repair back to the old standard. Let's spend money to actually improve the conditions so when the high water comes back, we don't have the damage again. To continually spend $100, $200 million to keep repairing and knowing that the water's going to come back and do the same damage again is a fool's errand. And New Yorkers are not fools. So we said, let's spend $300 million on what we call the Resiliency and Economic Development Initiative. Now, $300 million is the largest investment the state has made in this region in modern political history, and I'm proud of it. Because it is an investment. Now, the REDI, because in government everything has to be an acronym. The R is resiliency. Build back better, stronger, more resilient, anticipate higher water, and build to that higher water standard. How do we do that? In part, restoring Mother Nature, restoring dunes that were taken down, vegetation that was taken down, natural sand barriers that were taken down or washed away, and in part, building a hardened infrastructure, higher seawalls, rebuilding marinas to different standards, putting in dunes in front of homes to stop the water from hitting the home, etc. Make the waterfront more resilient. The ED is economic development. If you're going to spend $300 million and you're going to make it more resilient, also use the opportunity to make improvements that will make us more economically competitive. Bring in more tourism, make our businesses better, make our homes better. So resiliency and economic development initiative together, $300 million. Never done before. Okay, how do we do it? Know what you don't know in life. The state was not in a position to tell St. Lawrence, to tell any county, this is what you should do. You know where the lake floods, you know where resiliency needs to be put in, you know what needs economic development, so we left the decision-making to the local communities. We set up 5 regions, and each region came together, worked, met, state commissioners worked to come up with your priority projects that were eligible. And the $300 million was then divided among the regions. Since this had never been done before, we made a couple of tweaks along the way. We started saying we would like the local governments to match the project with 15% funding. Local governments said 15% is too high, it's a burden. We reduced the 15% down to 5%. Why do I think the 5% local investment is important? Because I want you to invest. I want you to have ownership of the project. You know the old expression, I want you to have skin in the game. I want you to have pride, and I want this project to be your project and your priority. And that's what the 5% does. It makes it your priority, your project. We also made a change where people said we want to do more for homeowners. So we took $20 million aside, we put it together for homeowners. We prioritized permanent residences first. Those applications have just about closed. Those applications only ask for about half the funding, a little bit more. So we can also open the fund now to secondary homeowners, and we're going to do that today. And I'm excited about that. So then the question becomes, of the $300 million, allocating it among the regions. And as I said, it was a process between the local communities and the state government officials to take your priority projects. Now, the priority projects had to be eligible for state reimbursement. And different regions have won different amounts depending on the eligibility of their projects, depending on their need. And I know you worked very hard on these projects, and I know there were a lot of meetings. Unfortunately, not everybody can always win. So I'm sorry to tell you today that your region did not win any funds. Trick or treat. Got you for a moment, though. You went white. I saw that look. Congratulations, you have won $60 million more than any region in the program. Thank you. Thank you. And the congratulations really does go to you because you did it. Now, $60 million is a lot of money. You won the largest amount from any region. I'm sure it has nothing to do with the fact that Molly is from here and Basil Sagos has a home here. That was coincidental. I'm sure it's that you geographically represent the largest part of the shoreline and you had the greatest need. But I'm very excited about it. 2 points, if I can. Number one, these are announcements of projects, and that's great. But what is better is actually getting it done. Getting it done. What drives me crazy about government is often the bureaucracy of government. And I think what drives people crazy is government is proposing, government is planning, but government takes too long between the proposal and the plan and the actuality, right? Government always talks, politicians always talk. My grandfather, who I was named for Andrea, whenever a politician would come on the TV, he would go like this. I remember as a kid saying to him, I said, Grandpa, what is that? He said, that's all they do is talk, these people. They talk, they don't do anything. He never showed my father that gesture. But I think a lot of people feel that way. It's just government talks, and then there's bureaucracy, and everything takes a long time. We have to get this done, and we have to get it done quickly. These are not normal projects. These are projects that are responding to an emergency. People have gone through a lot of pain. We have to get these projects done to make sure it doesn't happen again. And it will happen again, so we have to get it done before it happens again. The people who work with me will tell you I created a new doctrine, the doctrine of constructive impatience, okay? They called me impatient. Well, he's very impatient. That's a negative when they call you impatient. Constructive impatience makes it a positive, because I am impatient. Constructive impatience is, I just don't want to hear about the bureaucracy and about the obstacles and why we didn't get it done. Get it done and figure it out and move it. So you get the grant award today. Molly's going to be working on this program. The commissioners who you worked with from the state are going to continue to work. Take 3 weeks. Do everything you need to do to get the projects going. At the end of 3 weeks, you are invited to Albany. We'll spend a day. Any problems you run into, bring in 3 weeks to Albany. We'll have a full-day session, and we will work through the problems there, and I will come with my doctrine of constructive impatience, and I will help break any log jams, because I really want to get these done so people make a difference. Last point is this. It has been a horrendous couple of years. On just a personal level, businesses have suffered, individuals have suffered, and to go through it in 2017 and then to have to go through it all over again. How many people said to me, I was traumatized from 2017 and now I'm reliving the trauma? Here's the good news. The good news is every storm has a silver lining. And the silver lining is, if it was not for this situation, we would not be here today. You would not have gone through the community planning processes that you went through. The state commissioners would not have been here spending weeks working with you. We would not have had $300 million in funding, a record funding amount, to actually do many projects that needed to be done anyway. There's a lot of work that we're going to do now that we should have done anyway if we could find the funding, if we could find the political will, if we could find the energy. We had to take down the Northumberland Bridge anyway. We had to improve Riverwalk anyway. We had to fix the Market Square docks in Sackett's Harbor anyway. We had to do this work anyway. We had to fix the Waddington wastewater treatment plant anyway. These projects we've talked about for years, and we could never figure out a way to do it. And now we are going to do it. We're not just going to rebuild. This is not about going back to the future and rebuilding what was. This is building what never has been before. This is literally improving your community, the economic competitiveness of your community, the homes in your community, the facilities in your community. They're going to be better than ever before. Forget the flood. This is just overall. This is just overall a massive investment in your community to improve it and make it better. And when you get to the end of the day, everybody's responsibility is very simple. And I believe we only have one. As a citizen, as a parent, as a steward who our Maker gives a short period of time on this earth, leave the place better than you found it. Leave the place better than you found it. Be able to look your children in the eye and your grandchildren in the eye and say, this is our home, I love it, and I now give it to you, better than I found it. We're going to do that, and we start today. Thank you, and God bless you.
Well, hello, Clayton. Give yourself a round of applause. Come on, Clayton. It is wonderful to be here. The governor mentioned that you have a second home here, and it's bigger than that. My in-laws are just downriver fishers. My kids get popcorn next door, racks for the flip-flops, and so on. But this does feel like second home, but I'll tell you why, one of the reasons why it is so great. There's a part of the river here, once you get past a few thousand shoals, and it stretches for a long way, that your cell phones don't work. And as a commissioner that has to be on 24/7, there's a certain paradise that can be found, not only in this beautiful body of water, but a place where you cannot be found. So when the governor calls me, and it just goes to voicemail, Governor, that's where I am. Catching that one big fish a year. But it is wonderful to be here. It's been an honor to serve as REDI Commission co-chair with Gil Quinones, certainly in the region here as regional lead. And I want to just discuss quickly before I get into some of the real highlights and the things that you all are very excited about, the awards. What has made this process so wonderful. It starts with the emergency response, right? We were all here at the governor's direction before the floodwaters came. I mean, not just here, 526 miles of shoreline. And then one day I was having my shoulder surgery, and I got a phone call while on the table, and it was the governor. And he said, well, Basil, got a few others on the phone, we got to do something about this. We can't just go about spending money on the shoreline like in the past. We got to think differently about it. And he laid out this incredible vision for the future of the river. And I started flexing my arm, and I felt it coming. This sort of constructive impatience building. And I was wondering, when would this be due? When would the work be due on this? So we got to the end of the phone call, and he said, and we're going to finish this in October, and we're going to announce it in October. And here we are in October. I leaned over to the doctor and asked for some more help. But it has been a fantastic process. All of my fellow commissioners have been part of this. So many local officials, all the wonderful staff. I mean, hundreds of people, while we are responding to the emergency, launching this incredible initiative. And it is visionary. The governor's vision here is visionary, and there's proof of it. No other state is doing this right now. Every state has a problem with its waterfront on the Great Lakes, all 5 Great Lakes. All of them are experiencing problems. None of them are doing what New York is doing right now. None of them are looking long-term, resiliency, economic development. So to be a part of this while we're responding to save lives and save homes and property, launching this initiative at the same time has been the best part of government that I've been a part of. It's been inspirational. So you should all give yourselves a round of applause for being part of this great event. But it is an outlier. This should not be an example of what we can do, Governor. This is a very specific example. This constructive impatience, we'll have to take our time on other projects. But anyhow, so on to the very exciting awards. As the Governor mentioned, $60 million being awarded today, more than any other region, for 38 projects. All of these projects go right to what the Governor was saying, this merger of traditional and natural infrastructure, hardened where you need to, and soften, frankly, bring back Mother Nature where you need to, and all of that with resiliency and economic development in mind. So I'm going to walk through some of these projects. Again, these are featured projects. All of the projects we are going to announce are going to be online in a few moments. So I'll walk through just a few highlights to just accentuate the depth of the ideas that you all have worked on and how the state's going to make that a reality. So focus on Jefferson County first. County Road 57 Point Peninsula, Town of Lyme, $5.4 million. Congratulations. And as everyone knows, this road has been inundated for years. We've talked about it for years, and now we're finally doing something about it, raising the road bed, bringing in some of that hardened rock, bringing in some of the natural features as well, and get storm water off the road. So that'll be a big project for the town of Lyme. In the village of Clayton, here we are, $3.75 million. Congratulations, the Riverwalk. So the Riverwalk this summer was protected by the aquadam the Governor talked about. Fine to put in an aquadam, better to raise the infrastructure, and that's what this project is doing, is raising that very important shoreline so that the businesses that are surviving on the backside aren't being flooded out. The lower James Street dock in Alex Bay, $2 million. Congratulations to Alex Bay. You can see replacing fixed docks with floating docks, removing fuel pumps, putting them up gradient, tanks, and other permanent infrastructure. That'll be a big boost to Alex Bay. Cape Vincent, East End Park, $1 million to address some of the damage done by erosion. Congratulations to Cape Vincent. You see elevating some of that limestone seawall, fixing the drainage underneath, making sure that seawall is intact. And in Sackett's Harbor, $160,000 to improve the coastal resiliency of Sackett's Harbor, especially at the water treatment plant. Congratulations. And Molly Riley had nothing to do with this, but we were on the boat that one day and saw how vulnerable the water intake is right there at the seawall, with an old seawall potentially falling in on it, which would be devastating. So this is a very important initiative. On to St. Lawrence County. Waddington, congratulations. $11 million to finally address the wastewater issues at the village of Waddington. So a huge project, really, to re-engineer all of the gathering lines, elevations, improving some resiliency within the system. And Waddington, obviously, the home of Bassmasters for so many events. This will be a big boon to their water quality as well. In the city of Ogdensburg, well, Moorset County Park, you know what they got. Wait, there we go. City of Ogdensburg, Moorset County Park, $4.9 million. Congratulations. And this is a wonderful re-envisioning of the entire waterfront there, elevating that surface and helping to get water off the historically flood-prone area. Congratulations. Town of Morristown, the Governor mentioned the Northumberland Street Bridge, a pinch point, an old bridge deteriorating, real pinch point. Removing that bridge, $2 million. Congratulations. And this is really a perfect example. You have aging infrastructure. You're effectively getting rid of it, letting people circumvent the peninsula there, the town, and really reconnect this important habitat, improve boating down there. Congratulations to you. In the city of Ogdensburg, the Fort de la Presentation Trail, $1.2 million. Congratulations. And here, stabilizing the shoreline, elevating trails to ensure continuous use. This is a wonderful project down where effectively you're building a bit of a swale to keep the floodwaters in and also improving the trails itself. And then Chippewa Bay Boat Launch in the town of Hammond, $430,000. Congratulations. Again, taking those fixed docks and moving them into floating docks, stabilizing the shoreline, so these docks, no matter what happens with the high water or low water for that matter, these docks can operate and improve public access. And the governor mentioned last week an ambitious approach to the entire shoreline, all 8 counties that have been subject to this repeated flooding, a $15 million dredging plan that will finally bring the state and the counties together for a concerted effort to dredge our harbors on a going basis. You have high water. The high water creates erosion, silts in all the channels. You've got low water. All of a sudden, you can't access all those marinas, all those important waterfront facilities. So congratulations really to the entire waterfront, especially to this region with so much waterfront access. So again, this is just an example of some of the projects. I couldn't be more proud to have been part of this. Please go online, take a look at all the projects, frankly, along the entire coast. It was a heck of an undertaking. It relies all on the work that you did, and we're so proud to have been a part of it. So again, congratulations. Now, it is my pleasure to bring up here Mayor Janet Otto-Quesada, Village in Waddington.
Thank you, Commissioner Sagos, and thanks to all of you for joining us today. No one understood the urgency needed to complete a project of this magnitude like Governor Cuomo. As the water levels continue to rise, threatening our beloved ecosystem, businesses, and our way of life, the governor came in to say, enough is enough. I am so proud of the work being done by the REDI Commission, and I am thankful for their help. Thanks to the REDI Commission's work and the state's persistence in getting this done, the most vulnerable areas along Lake Ontario shoreline in Jefferson and St. Lawrence County will be rebuilt or improved to withstand whatever Mother Nature throws at us. Yeah, no kidding. So thank you again, Governor Cuomo, for your leadership and continued support of our communities. We truly appreciate it.
This concludes the